So one thing I didn't really understand, I think, when I first started shooting and becoming a content creator, whatever it is you want to call me, videographer, photographer, editor, director, all of the above. When I first started doing this kind of work, I didn't realize how hard it would be to set up a real professional shoot, right? So if you've seen, if you're a content creator yourself, you've probably seen other people's work from big directors or production companies, etc., where it's just been you look at it and you're like, this is a crazy amount of production value here. This took a lot of work. This took a ton of effort. Blah blah blah. And you look at it, and sometimes, at least if you're like me, I'll go, oh, this doesn't look that crazy. This looks attainable. This looks achievable. I know how to do this and that. But it's like, just because you know how to do it, or think you know how to do it, you actually don't see the amount of like planning that went into it. And this is where producers come in. I'm glad that I have no interest in being a producer. I think that I'm very grateful that there are people out there who are down to do all of the logistical back end and really help in terms of planning and scheduling and deadlines and making sure people are fed and making sure everybody gets paid and all of this stuff that is required for a legitimate production to occur. And if you want to shoot something not run and gun, it's usually not going to, it's going to be really hard to make something look as premium as you would like it to look if you don't have all of these things. This is something I didn't realize going into what I do. And this is another reason why, my lack of, I try to take shortcuts, right? And anytime in creativity, I always am looking for almost like the path of least resistance. And that might sound bad, but what I really mean is I'm looking for the easiest thing that gets you the most bang for your buck. And I actually think this is the do more with less mindset. This is, to me, the very essence of creativity. It's how can you work within your constraints to where you can do more with less. So if up until very recently, most of my work has been very lacking in that back end production, right? Which again, in turn, is why it doesn't look quite as professional as other people. And this is now my goal, is to get involved in larger productions and become a quote unquote real director, of course. But the thing that I always will still carry through my work is, how can we, and again, this is the thing that I think is very, very important, and this is the mindset you should have as a creator, especially when you're starting off, is how can I achieve this with as little as possible? How can I achieve an amazing effect? How can I reach a result that is 90% as good with like 10% the actual back end and all the work that goes into it, right? And how can I cut the corners? How can I take the path of least resistance and really find the almost cheap, easy way? But nobody knows it was cheap and easy. Everybody just sees the end result and they go, oh, it looks like there was a big production here, but really there wasn't. How can you find those things? One answer that I love, and this is something that I kind of do as a hobby, but I think it helps to grow the brand, is street photography. Now, I always shoot on film if I'm going to go and shoot photos, almost always. And I love film because to me, you really can't replicate the look of a film photograph. I think Fuji X100V, all that, they do a great job. But I don't think there's anything quite like film. I've also recently just gotten one of these guys. It's a medium format Mamiya RB67. Maybe you've seen me talk about this in a different video. And to me, the beauty of street photography specifically is that you don't have to do any thinking or any planning or anything. You just go and walk around and shoot photos until you find something, or don't shoot photos if you're me. If you know me, if you're friends with me and you've been out shooting with me, you know that I'll rarely actually shoot a photo. And that's because I know what I'm looking for. And I don't, that's another reason of why shooting film is one of my favorite things to do. Because it I think helps you become a better photographer, because you're very limited as far as you don't have unlimited shots. You're very limited in your shots, and you can't even look to see, of course, if your shot was good or if you need another one. It's like, nah, make sure that's the one when you pull the trigger. And anyways, my point is street photography in general is really cool because you're giving yourself tons and tons of constraints. You're saying, okay, I'm not gonna plan anything today. I'm gonna just be creative. I'm not gonna use any of my energy to try and get people and call people and get things scheduled and plan a shot list and write down anything. I'm just gonna go walk around. I'm just gonna take a walk. It's purely meditative and it's purely creative, and that is why I love it. And some of my favorite photos, I mean, ever that I've gotten are just unplanned, random instances where I'm just out in the world in real life. I so happen to have that camera on me, which if you know me, I normally do. And I snap a photo, and because in my opinion it's film, it always it has a certain look to it that I just love. And I think you can't really replicate that look. So that's sort of the point of this video is, there's always going to be, you have options with creativity. I guess that's the takeaway here. You have a lot of options, and sometimes the best thing to do is try and eliminate those options and just focus on being creative and just cut to the chase, right? How can you achieve, again, an amazing result with barely anything? And that's the do more with less mindset. So I'll end the video there. Thank you guys, as always, so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, you made it this far, subscribe to the channel. Send this video to somebody who needs to hear it. And drop a comment down below about what other topics you want me to talk about, or shoot me a DM on Instagram if you want to talk to me personally. That is all for now. As always, thank you guys for watching. Peace.